Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, the ultra-leftist who sides with illegal migrants over citizens, has just been exposed in a bombshell investigation by the Daily Caller. According to their investigation, Mayor Bass took campaign donations totaling over $1 million from two Chinese Communist Party-linked bankers, both connected to what's called the United Front Work Department, China's primary intelligence and influence operation. But here's the kicker. Immediately after taking their money, Bass appointed them to her mayoral transition advisory team, the very group tasked with guiding policy and staffing decisions for her entire administration.
And then they can hand out all the contracts to their companies and front groups and put their spies in the key positions. Something that has been overlooked by most Americans, certainly not the Trump admin, is that communist China and its global financial political tentacles is the main opponent of the United States and the West. Now, we've got our own globalists and BlackRock and the New World Order and the Israel lobby and all the rest of that to deal with. And they were allied with China until about 15 years ago. China openly double-crossed the left and their big global government project. They were only supposed to dominate economically, but the West would dominate militarily. That was the division. They were supposed to have a one-child policy. They got rid of that 5 years ago. They've broken with the globalist technocracy transhumanist system. But both sides are racing with AI. Both sides are racing with the social credit score. Both sides are racing. And you can say, well, Trump's going to have a laissez-faire AI and not a tyrannical one. It's obviously oppressing humans. It's obviously dumbing us down. It's obviously overall not good in its trajectory. In fact, all the inventors of it and top scientists agree with that. It's already dumbing people down and making humans obsolete. Only a moronic species would replace itself, but that's what's happening. But the argument is, well, we're in this race with China, so that's just the way it is. And we got to have 3 times the power in the next few years just to run the AI. As Trump said at a press conference 4 days ago. Well, actually, the head of Alphabet says they need 100 times the power that we have. But we can't have a car. We can't have a refrigerator. We can't have an air conditioner. It's evil. But, oh, we've got to build thousands of nuclear power plants to power the AI, to run our lives and track everything. And when it puts off carbon and all the toxic systems that build it, that's okay. But biological life forms, you and I, we're bad. So you can't talk about China as a big threat without understanding it's a competing technological terror that was given the blueprints, the globalist plan, and then double-crossed them. So now you got a two-headed dragon, but it's still connected to Satan. Now, I've just got a few things I came across today that I already knew, but were illustrative, and I thought, why not just give people a nice little snapshot on China and how infiltrated we are by it? Because even though Obama officially tried to pull away from China and make the Asia pivot, he couldn't because they had their fang-fangs in there. That's a pun, but she is called fang-fang, sex operatives over Swallowswell, and the chiefs of staff for so many of the Democrat senators and House members and governors are Chi-Com agents. And they bring them cold, hard cash to the different Confucian societies that go directly to the CCP, and they buy mayors for a couple $1 million. They buy senators for hundreds of millions of dollars. And this is all hiding in plain view. So I wanted to give you some examples of that, and then watch top communist billionaires on liberal international leftist TV with supposed famous peace-stick humanitarians about how China is really the free country and how America isn't. And this stuff is airing on U.S. and UK and European and Australian TV. And it's just preposterous. So we're going to break it down right now. But first, this video is like 4 years old. China's had AI social credit score in for about 8 years. And the Chinese Communist Party's statement is, We want total AI social credit score where if you're not in compliance with every rule and regulation, you may not step 1/2 foot outside your door. You may not get a hotel, or your car won't start. You can't get on a train. You can't have a job. You can't get in a grocery store. And it's already been it's being put in the rural areas. It's already been put in the cities. And now you look at Europe and now some areas of the U.S. Oh, you got to scan your phone in your hand to get into a Whole Foods, which is Jeff Bezos just bought 5 years ago. And all of this is rolling out for total control. So it's not coming, it's here. So here's just a short video about what it's like to live under an AI dictatorship social credit score, which, remember, 10 years ago or so, they had the Black Mirror episode. This isn't life imitating art. This is already being set up. This is art imitating life. This is predictive programming. But this isn't a Netflix Black Mirror special. This isn't fiction. This is China, and it's much worse today. Here it is.
A good score brings benefits, but people with low scores lose rights. The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
It's a matter of principle. Those people have to be condemned.
Those people aren't honest, so they have to pay the price.
It's only right to pay your debts. You have to blacklist those that don't.
The Supreme Court has created a blacklist for so-called bad citizens, those whose ratings have dropped to 0. On it are companies, but also 23 million people to date. Among them is this journalist Liu Hu. He got a little too close to uncovering corruption among high-profile party members. After being sued for defamation by the subject of a story he'd written, he was blacklisted. But he only realized when he tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
That tells me I'm still on the blacklist.
Punished because he's been branded untrustworthy by the state.
Once you're blacklisted, you can no longer get a bank loan, start a business, buy an apartment, or even send your children to a private school.
Liu Hu is among a tiny minority of people who have dared to criticize the system, which some are calling a digital dictatorship.
I worry because I think many people like me will be deprived of individual freedoms, and all of us will live with restrictions of one kind or another.
After our meeting, Liu Hu learned that his name had been removed from the blacklist, but he still has a long way to go if he doesn't want to languish at the bottom of the social credit hierarchy.
Now, that's 4 or 5 years ago. Look what they did with COVID and the drones and the face scanning. And now we show you countless videos where you can't even get in a grocery store unless your social credit score is good or anything. Go to a doctor. Now, let's talk about, I played that to show that's the good guys. That's the government that is good and liberal, and that they teach at U.S. universities is the right system, an unelected communist dictatorship set up in 49, a Politburo with a dictator for life, Xi Jinping. But first, let's look at the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, who was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, she admits, a member of the Cuban intelligence and lived part of the year in Cuba. But she said by the 90s she was no longer a communist. Now, here's Karen Bass, this is mainstream news, taking millions of dollars directly from a CCP group, it's not even hidden, who then was appointed to the city commission to decide everyone that gets hired. And they only had to give her a couple $1 million. She needs to be indicted years ago. The woman is a monster, a total liar. Remember when Trump, during the fires? Hey, it's been weeks and the officers won't even let us get permits to clean up our property. That's not true. You'll be in there soon. 1 week. 7 months later, none of them have been issued. And it's a 15-minute city, a UN, and they are grabbing everybody's property, which I told you they do. That is the plan. That is the program. That is the operation. And the 15-minute city is a smart city, of course. And they're putting them in all over the Western world, putting in one in Austin, and then expands out from there. It's a digital prison. Here it is.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, the ultra-leftist who sides with illegal migrants over citizens, has just been exposed in a bombshell investigation by the Daily Caller. According to their investigation, Mayor Bass took campaign donations totaling over $1 million from two Chinese Communist Party-linked bankers, both connected to what's called the United Front Work Department, China's primary intelligence and influence operation. But here's the kicker. Immediately after taking their money, Bass appointed them to her mayoral transition advisory team, the very group tasked with guiding policy and staffing decisions for her entire administration.
And then they can hand out all the contracts to their companies and front groups and put their spies in the key positions. And something that DOJ has been doing good is they've been indicting, I've seen hundreds of CHICOM agents, so that means it's more, I can't even keep track of it, doing all sorts of nasty, dirty stuff in business and smuggling in bioweapons and just hits the news and blip, 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 gone. So this is being pushed all over the internet, videos like this. Eric X. Lee, the billionaire, pulling strings in U.S. policy circles. And then one of the posters is like, Chinese philosophy is more profound than Western philosophy in light years. So here he is bragging about manipulating the U.S. and how they got a better system, according to him, how it's freer. And then people watch it and think this is a good thing that post it. Gee, I wish we had one of those Politburos. And their argument is, well, we get special interests in billionaires here that then go and buy the politicians. But they can't do that in China because the Politburo can't be bought. Almost every one of the Politburo is worth billions of dollars, and their families are, and the generals are worth billions. It's way more corrupt than we've got, and you can't vote them out. You can't get rid of them. But imagine he's being interviewed by a famous leftist journalist, and they've got music behind it. And it's so profound, and it's so beautiful, and oh my gosh, Mao Zedong and Xi Jinping. I mean, this is so liberal. And total COVID lockdowns, and 3 million Uyghurs in death slave camps having their organs harvested. This is just, but the average leftist just thinks, oh, China, it's so free. Their Politburo, it can get the job done. Watch this.
In America, you can change political parties, but you can't change policies. In China, you cannot change the party, but you can change policies.
So in that time, China ceased to be communist. Is that what you're saying?
Well, China is a market economy, and it's a vibrant market economy, but it is not a capitalist country. Here's why. There's no way a group of billionaires could control the Politburo as billionaires control American policymaking. So in China, you have a vibrant market economy, but capital does not rise above political authority. Capital does not have enshrined rights. In America, capital, the interest of capital and capital itself has risen above the American nation. The political authority cannot check the power of capital. And that's why America is a capitalist country, but China is not. So in the 65 or 66 years, China is being run by one single party, yet the political changes that have taken place in China in this past 66 years have been wider and broader and greater than probably any other major country in modern memory.
And even the Chinese government admits Mao Zedong killed over 80 million of his own people, most of them poor farmers. And the U.S. made deals in the 80s and 90s to transfer basically all of our industry there with regulations here that wouldn't let us operate. They build, on average, 4 coal power plants a week. Got articles where they're accelerating that just today. And the U.S. was tearing down a couple a week. Now, Trump's announced, we're not just building nuclear plants for the AI, we're going coal. Yeah, ours is totally clean. It's amazing. Yeah, that was something good Trump did. But how about that for cheap power for us? So, but here's a microcosm of Mayor Bass. And this is Newsom, and this is California-wide. You go, yeah, that's New York, and that's Illinois. It's the Soros DAs. Here in Austin, Texas, if you're black or Hispanic and you commit a violent crime, you will be given no bond, and you usually don't even go to jail or prison. Because that's the social justice. I mean, you've heard the left talk about it. And, of course, the Chi-Coms are helping fund this as well. They know that'll just bring down our society. So this is a video of a black man assaulting another man, and the LAPD refusing to arrest him because they aren't allowed to. It's going viral with LA residents begging President Trump to take over the city. You're allowed in these different cities, or in blue cities, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 that you're allowed to steal a day, and then you wonder why all the businesses close. And then if you defend your business, you go to jail. And now the Islamic communist mayoral candidate that's set to win, Mondami in New York, says he's going to get rid of all misdemeanors. And that's up to stealing $4,000. And you're like, that'll destroy New York. That's the plan, friend. And when all the grocery stores close, they go, oh, we're going to have government-run grocery stores now. Oh, there's no money, so it's a social credit score, universal basic income. That's the admitted plan. And they're announcing in Chicago government grocery stores. And in New York, government grocery stores. And in areas of California, government grocery stores. It's called Cloward and Piven, collapse the system to bring in communism. Call it democratic socialism. So, that's right. When people get home invasions now in many areas of California, they won't even come. When you get mugged, the police won't come. When your car gets stolen, they won't come. Here's the clip.
I'm a big badass mother. Do something.
Hey, so for a battery, it's going to be a private person's arrest, okay? So we're not going to be arresting him. The way that it works is because it's a misdemeanor not committed in my presence. You're going to be signing that private person's arrest, and you're going to be the one going to court and testifying against him. To arrest him. So if you're not willing to go to court, there's really no...
For property damage and battery?
So battery is a misdemeanor. The property, if it's under $400, it's still a misdemeanor.
Is that LA County or is that all California?
It's all California.
That's insane.
Guys, the police are impotent in California. Let's just move. They can't do anything. It's Los Angeles police. They can't do anything about anything. Listen, actually, I had to walk up and stand between that guy and violently assaulting them because police can't do anything. You guys are impotent to actually do justice because the state of your culture is such that people run and do evil every minute of every day.
That's fine, but I'm trying to do my job, okay? I'm explaining to you.
Yeah, you can't do your job. You've been given a sword to do justice, to protect innocent people, but you can't do it because of the state of the culture.
And the Communist Chinese and the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and all these different leftist NGOs, they put their people in the governments, the regulatory systems, and they take over. And they turn the fire defense off, and they burn down your property, and then they take it and don't pay you for it and turn it into a UN city that their buddies built. L.A., the hiring commission, run by a known communist Chinese intelligence operation. Oh, but the pro-Chi-Com billionaires like, we don't have special interest in our country because the Politburo is the only special interest. Yeah, and it's total tyranny. And then we come to your country and we take control of it because the Democrats and the globalist Republicans until now have controlled the DOJ and aren't indicting these people. Karen Bass needs to be indicted yesterday. Now, let's tie that in to the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of L.A., the mayor of Denver, the mayor, all of them saying, the Republican governor of Illinois, who's a total globalist, leftist, we're not going to help the police aren't going to help the military. In fact, already when some violent illegal alien is being released from jail, they won't tell ICE they're being released. That's on record. You've had the communist mayor of Chicago saying, we're going to fight back, we're going to rise up. Those are quotes. Now he signed an executive order yesterday saying any police that help will be in big trouble. In fact, they're going to try to block the guard and ICE. So this is coming to a head. Senator Kennedy had something to say about it, and we'll come back with the mayor. Here it is.
Tell us what you think about President Trump's crime crackdown.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm against crime. I think most Americans are, unless they happen to be a criminal or they happen to be like a rock, only dumber. It's also a fact that over the last 5 or 10 years, many of our major cities in America are worse. If you measure it in terms of crime and violence and education, poverty, family formation, it's easiest, not easy, but it's easiest of the problems I've just mentioned to deal with crime. And it's working. We've sent in law enforcement officials to Washington. Crime, violence is down. I don't understand Governor Pritzker's pushback. He's got a crime problem in Chicago. I mean, even the mafia is leaving Chicago because of the crime. I suspect Governor Pritzker, he seems to view random violence as preferable to having help from federal officials coming in. And I think it's probably because of his animosity toward President Trump. If President Trump came out in favor of breathing to survive, Governor Pritzker would probably hold his breath.
What's been done here is very simple, and it's in the Podesta plan, and it's in other UN globalist plans we've covered ad nauseum, that they will defund the police, put in the Soros DAs, let violent criminals run wild, destabilize and collapse society, and then come in with total control, which you're witnessing. And under the Constitution, if there's an emergency of lawlessness and the states and the counties and the cities leadership will not do it, then you're supposed to send in the feds. People are like, Jones is now promoting a police state when he was worried about it forever. Because the Democrats were openly training the military and police to confiscate guns and end free speech. I had the military and police giving me the stuff 30 years ago. And since then, I broke most of it because I was the guy covering it and they gave it to me. I got it from the police, the state police. I got it from the feds. I got it from Army intelligence. They would tell us when they were doing something illegal and they wanted us to come cover it. Used to get visits from Fort Hood. I don't get those calls. They're not worried now because the mission's constitutional. But I still call people I know and I say, am I right? And they go, you're dead right what you're saying. Our military and police aren't confiscating guns. They're the ones that found out about the plan and blew the whistle to us. This is to stabilize these cities so they don't completely collapse, which is the globalist Chi-Com New World Order ADL plan. We'll come back with more on this and so much more. Q, you name it, stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that humanity has awoken from its slumber. And a terrible giant is rising. And the more we get informed, and the more we get involved, and the more we pray to God to lead, guide, and direct us, the faster we are going to destroy the globalist system and relaunch God's plan for our incredible species. But it's going to take clarity. It's going to take research. It's going to take courage and focus. Disinformation is our #1 enemy. And it doesn't just come from the overt globalists. It comes from operatives that know there's an awakening, but know that people are like children. They don't yet have all the answers, so they want to misguide them. Either into being black-pilled and believing we've all been defeated and it's all over and everything's a betrayal and there's nothing real and the world is flat and the Easter Bunny's real. Or to believe everything is perfectly fine and we're all invincible, just trust the plan. You don't want to be black-pilled or white-pilled. You want to be Christ-pilled. You want to be reality-pilled. You want to be engaged-pilled. Because you're not a panicking, you're a taking an action. You're a holding the politicians' feet into the firing. You are getting involved in the animating contest of liberty. And that's why God has had his hand on this broadcast and on me for 30 plus years and on you, so that we would be here at this critical time to continue to energize humanity and move forward. All right, finishing up on the lawlessness. It is the Democrats defunded the police. It is the Democrats put all the Soros people in. It is the Democrats that let the violent criminals out of jail. It is the Democrats set up the NGOs and opened the border and flooded it all in. They are the ones that are destabilizing everything. They are the ones, along with some of the neocons, that made the deals to ship our jobs overseas and demoralize our children and teach Common Core 2 + 2 = 14. They are the ones that teach there's no X and Y chromosomes. They're the ones. They're the tip of the spear of the globalists, the leftist parties worldwide. And the idea that Trump wants martial law and that Trump wants troops on the streets to oppress people, it's a lie. He wanted 10,000 National Guard for J6. Millions were coming to protest, and he was promising violence. He wanted 10,000 for crowd control, make sure you go have his events. Said go peacefully to the Capitol, and he got set up. They sent half the Capitol Police away that day for traffic control. I was there. I saw it. I know. I try to stop people going in the building. I said they're going to kill people. It's a setup. They're trying to trigger a clash, which is what is in the Podesta plan from 2020, is to have right-wing, left-wing clashes that lead to a race-based civil war. And they're trying to launch the plan again, but it's not going well because people are getting wise to it, of every race, color, and creed. But the sniveling communist Chi-Com mayors that they've put in all over the country, and a lot of them are black because they finance that to hide behind a black face. Jasmine Crockett, you know, all these different people with their hate-filled spew, that is trying to gear up the racial conflict. They're just BlackRock puppets behind Jasmine Crockett and behind Maxine Waters and behind the mayoral candidate in New York and Minneapolis, the Democrat socialist, is Larry Fink. So whenever you look at one of these race-baiting black people, that's not the average black person. That's the New World Order, putting a black face on what they're doing so they can get away with all their evil activity while they divide all of us and gear us up for a racial conflict. Old Fink thinks he's smarter than us. Well, let's see. I'm betting on the people, punk. He told Davos 8 years ago when Trump first got in publicly, and look it up, he said, China and Xi Jinping will stop Trump. Have you seen China? America's never coming back. It's the Chinese century. I'd love to see Trump try to turn our economy back on. He isn't running his mouth like that right now. We got a whole bunch of states just won court cases saying he's a racketeer trying to destroy our economy by design. A terrorist. Spotlighting your big old cockroach ass. So let's hear from Larry Fink's man, the mayor in Chicago. Here it is.
I'm signing an executive order today that will launch the Protecting Chicago initiative. This is a project that builds on the months of preparation that we have done that has led up to this very moment. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement. We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president. We do not want to see tanks in our streets. We do not want to see families ripped apart. We do not want grandmothers thrown into the back of unmarked vans. We don't want to see homeless Chicagoans harassed or disappeared by federal agents. And so this executive order makes it emphatically clear that this president is not going to come in and deputize our police department.
They shipped 450,000 children, federal numbers now confirmed, many of them to sex slavery, in unmarked vans. They did it. And now, they got unmarked vans. We need to be able to attack those with cinder blocks and bullets. How dare them when they're scoping out our jail where we're releasing rapists, pedophiles, murderers, and not telling the feds under law to come pick them up. How dare them stake out the jails and arrest these people? We needed to say ICE on the side so some of our gangbangers can, you know, fire a couple clips into the truck. So we can have crowds of people show up and chase the ICE down the street. How many videos you seen of that? Shooting up ICE centers, shooting them up when they raid a marijuana farm and there's 14 underage kids there. And they're shooting up their vehicles, throwing cinder blocks in the windows. And it's only on the internet. You don't see it on the news. I can just violence, ICE getting killed, Border Patrol getting killed. But they're the terrorists. They're this army that's everywhere. There's only 5,000 ICE enforcers. We got 40-something million illegal aliens. 20-something came in the last 4 years. We're completely overrun. A reporter got killed by La Reconquista and a black racist. Absolutely insane. Let me tell you something. I look at threats, I assess them, and I know what threats are. We have a military and we have police for stuff like this. The military isn't supposed to be overseas all the time. It's supposed to be here on our border. It's supposed to be here fighting forest fires. And when cities turn into hellholes while Trump can show, see, we could have made this safe, then he'll have the pressure he needs to indict the Soros DAs. And he just brought in the Attorney General of Missouri that's real good at that. He's throwing a bunch of their asses out. So, no, Trump's doing a really great job. And, you know, they got polls in Mexico, upwards of half, and some polls higher, of the Mexican people say they want the U.S. military's help to take out the drug cartels, which we're laundering through U.S. banks, which we're working with the CIA. Trump's killing all that. Remember the New York Times earlier this year? Oh, if Trump signs executive orders declaring Mexican cartels and other cartels terrorists, that'll hurt the stock market. That's that red button Catherine Austin Fitch talks about where she'll get 30 Wall Streeters in that want to stop fentanyl and drugs and death and murder. But, well, then she shows them the numbers. If you hit that button and turn it off, it's going to crash the stock market. They go, well, they don't hit the button. Well, Trump's hitting the button. But he's supercharging everything else so that won't do that. Notice when he tries to stop these wars, he goes, don't worry, we'll keep defense spending the same or bigger. It's a piece of strength. You still get your money and your weapons, but you're not going to go start World War III. Very pragmatic. Mexican senators get in fist fight during debate over U.S. military taking over drug cartels. A pair of Mexican politicians got into fisticuffs on the Senate floor during a debate over whether or not the nation should support American military intervention in its fight against drug cartels that have been terrorizing the country for decades. It's a failed state. The cartels run it. Scheinbaum, you know, their president is a joke. Go ahead and roll video. Very interesting.
Oh, here it is. Bovine colostrum plus. This is what I was looking for. This is the only thing that works on a monstrous stomach like mine. If it works for me, it will work for you. Order yours at the website below.
Charging into a goblin's nest. Goblin vomit.
Alex on a top-secret shoreline mission to handpick nature's vitamin-packed sea moss before the globalists patent it. He's scooping it up like it's Cyber Monday in the supplement aisle. But suddenly, the 20-foot-tall sea moss mutant erupts from the tide pool like Godzilla. Alex dashes like he just saw a new Fauci vaccine. Will he make it or become the monster's meal? To be continued.